Now that you've added the EQ and multiband compression processes, you should have sorted most of the tonal side of your mastering out. Now let's take a look at some of the other processes that can enhance your master. First, I want to show you how increasing the stereo width can help your sound. So with your song, there is a stereo field that you can play with. And with this, you can pan your sounds out, but you can only pan them so far. But there are some great plugins that allow you to extend the stereo range of your sound. You might have some stereo enhancers bundled in your DAW. On my side in Logic here, there is a stereo spread tool. So what you have is you've got your left and right, and you can also set the low amount for how far it's going to stretch out and the upper register amount. And then you've got this order that increases the spread. So let me play this back and show you it in action. I'm just going to return back to the default setting. So I can just sort of tighten up the lower band over there. And then listen as I change the order. You can hear it spreading out differently. So I'll leave it at 12 here. And just compare it before. And you can hear it just shoots things out a little bit to the sides. I find that this bundle tool is okay, but some third-party audio developers have really developed some great stereo enhancing products. One that I really like is by a company called Synopsys, and they've got their Stereo Tools plugin. It's very easy to operate. Basically, you can increase the stereo width with this parameter here, going from 0 all the way up to 200%. Plus, another great feature is that you can also choose for a frequency area to be mono. So it's sort of like a double-edged sword. You can mono your bass areas so they're more tight and focused, and then use the width to increase the stereo width of the higher register sounds. So let me play this back and show it to you in action. So to tighten up the bass, I'm going to mono everything below about 100 Hertz. This area really doesn't need any stereo detail. But what you could also do is you could tweak this all the way and hear your sound in mono. Just a great way to check how everything's translating. But that's going slightly off topic. So I'll bring this back to 100. And then I'm going to increase the width to about maybe, let's say, 140. Just a slight widening just helps push out those stereo elements a bit more, creating some more interest in the master. So compare it before. And then after. So you'll probably notice that the guitars have jumped out a bit more because they've been panned to the side, and this stereo widening has just pushed them out even further. Another application with a great stereo enhancer tool is Ozone with the Imager tool. Let me show you that in action. So this is more of a multiband tool. Like I showed you with the multiband compressor, this looks the same with your 4 bands, and I can play back and learn the bands. Cool, so that's found my crossover points. Now, I've also got a sort of meter here showing me the stereo. So if I play back, I've got the mono area here and then the stereo. And then these are my 4 bands. If I drop them down, it'll mono that band. And if I increase it up, it'll make it more stereo and widen it. So if I drop all these bands all the way down, my sound is completely in mono there. But let me just drag these back up and do some widening enhancement to it. So like I showed you before, with the bass areas, I like to give these a bit more of mono, just so it sort of tightens up that bass area and gives it more focus. So for band 1, I'm going to drop it quite far down, not all the way, and then band 2, just to mono that a little bit more as well. Then with band 3 and 4, I'm just going to increase the stereo width on these guys. See how that just pushes those guitar elements out. So here it's before. And after. Just giving a slight stereo enhancement to that sound. So there's a few tools on the market that do the same thing. So first see if you have any stereo widening tools in your DAW. Or take a look at some of the other options like Ozone or the Synoxis stereo tools and add them to your mastering toolkit.